Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Ben Askren to defeat Jake Paul. I got that one wrong. And I'm here to talk about Josh Quinlan versus Adam Fugitt. My prediction for this fight is Josh Quinlan wins. I guess I'll go with a knockout. That's my official pick, but a decision wouldn't surprise me as well. I think he's got more to offer on the feet than Adam Fugitt, and I think he's, especially compared to his last few fights, fighting a favorable matchup here. He has a record of 6-2. His 6 wins include 4 knockouts and 2 submissions. He's definitely good on the ground as well, Josh Quinlan, although here I think he's playing the role of the striker in this fight. I'm assuming that's what he wants to do. He's got 2 losses, one via knockout, one via decision, both in his last 2 fights. He was knocked out by Danny Barlow, who was really, this guy, I don't know where his ceiling is. It could be championship. But he is a very good fighter, and he was beating up Josh Quinlan, much more powerful guy, an overall better striker. And in the end, it was too much, and he got him out of there in round 3. That was February of this year. Can't believe that was this year. And his other loss was before that to Trey Waters. Trey Waters, who just had an awesome fight with Billy Goff a few weeks ago. Trey was a little too much for him on that physical level. Trey, I don't know what height and reach advantage he had, but I'm sure it was something big, and he made the most of that. He kind of really stood his ground instead of jousting, but he used his height and reach and got the better of Quinlan with counter shots anytime Quinlan tried to make anything happen. And towards the end, he stopped trying so hard to make things happen. But here he's fighting the exact opposite fighter in Adam Fugitt, and I do think Josh Quinlan will be the dominant striker in this fight. I think his striking is better, and I think his power is better as well. And you know what? Despite the recent knockout loss to Danny Barlow, I think he's also healthier as far as the chins go. And I don't know what the steroids he tested positive for did or did not do for him. But yeah, he tested positive for some shit when he won in the Contender Series, knocking out this guy, Logan Urban. But he steamrolled the guy, tested positive, and then it was a bit of a hiccup before he came into the UFC, and he knocked out Jason Witt, who's got a horrible chin. Adam Fugitt, he's got a record of 9-4. 8 finishes in his 9 wins, 5 via TKO, 3 via submission, and just 1 decision. A lot of his finishes take place on the ground. That's where he gets it done. He did knock out this one guy, Solomon Renfro. That was a standing finish. But Adam Fugitt is a ground fighter. His best win is, I guess, either over Solomon Renfro or over Yusaku Kinoshita, who he beat last year. Got him out of there a year ago with a TKO on the ground. Fugitt just kept ripping him to the mat, and the guy succumbed to his pressure in the end. He got on top from full mount and pounded him out. His 4 losses include 2 by knockout, 1 by submission, and 1 by decision. The decision was back in 2017 to Austin Vanderford, Paige Van Zant's boyfriend or husband, I believe. And he's a beast of a wrestler and was a little too much for him physically. Then he was knocked out by this guy, Kalen Hill, in the LFA. That was a knockout in 2018 and the first strike against his chin. And since then, he was TKO'd by Michael Morales in round 3, who Michael Morales, he's another guy, much like I said about Danny Barlow, his ceiling could be championship or whatever. The guy's a problem, and he's a physical problem for anybody. And Fugitt stood tall in that fight, but in the end, he succumbed, and he got finished in round 3. And against Mike Malott, he was guillotined in round 2. Another strike against his chin, though, because that's what got the ball rolling. He was clipped with a few hard punches and rocked in the second round before getting tapped. And Mike Malott, if he smells blood, he's probably going to finish it with his submission, and that's what happened there. So those are his losses, and altogether what they add up to is the chin is his biggest liability. It is, even though Michael Morales took 12 minutes to get him out of there or whatever, and that guy is, a big, strong guy. But I do think Josh Quinlan is going to have power and striking in this fight, and I also think he's going to be able to keep the fight standing. Adam Fugitt will try very hard, and I'm sure he will get the fight to the ground here and there, but Josh Quinlan looks like a difficult guy to control. Anytime I've seen him taken down, he generally handles it very well, and it's not long before he's back on his feet. So I think this is going to be Josh Quinlan's fight to lose. I'm picking him to win. I bet on his money line at almost even odds. I really like that because it's a pick 'em fight, and I have picked him. So I bet on him, and I'll wait for the props, see if anything jumps out. I would favor knockout over decision, but decision would be my second pick. And you know what? If he has him half hurt, maybe he could choke him like Mike Malott did. But I'd say that's his least likely path to victory. And coming back on the other side, as far as Adam Fugitt winning, I would go with the decision just based on how Quinlan has lost. And that would be Fugitt in his face, striking his way into takedowns and getting some control time enough to win on the scorecards. But maybe I'll see what the props say and maybe I'd bet on something like that. But I don't think so. I'm playing this one really one side. Josh Quinlan. I'm happy with his money line. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.